Achieving financial independence isn't rocket science. The tactics may differ, but the formula stays the same. Spend less, earn more, and invest the difference. But here's the challenge. Earning more often takes time. So, to keep building that gap, we usually turn to spending less. But there is a risk to that approach. If we cut too hard, we can burn out and start questioning whether financial independence is even worth it if we can't enjoy life along the way. That's where the Goldilocks approach comes in. Smart frugality. Not all expenses are created equal. Some cuts barely affect our life, while others add huge value and are worth keeping, even if it means reaching FI a little later. Today's guest, JC Rodriguez, is great at breaking this down. JC is a financial coach and content creator with more than 1.5 million followers across TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. In this episode, he'll help us sharpen our smart frugality approach. We'll cover values-based spending, frugal habits that actually last, and how to save money without sacrificing on happiness. I hope you enjoy my conversation with the avatar-loving, Forrest Gumping, first-gen Filipino-American, JC Rodriguez. JC, you've built a community called the Frugal Rich, which of course has frugality as its core principle. What is one example of something you cut from your life in the name of frugality, but then maybe later on realized you took it too far?
What I was mainly seeing online, if I looked up the word frugal living or frugality, it would always come up to videos about these extreme ways of just saving every dollar or every penny. And at times they would be a little too extreme for me. Like I would hear of women cutting out showers for the sake of saving water, or using a little bit less toothpaste to save a few cents. And I'm like, man, I am not going to get that particular with it. And at a point too, I was a little bit deep in the frugality game. I would be the kind of guy who would run to the clearance section right away when I went to Ross or TJ Maxx, and just like would be more excited about the lower price and the lower cost, but not actually thinking about the value of the product I was getting. I remember I went to Burlington once and I bought like this pack, a 6-pack of these black t-shirts for like $6. And I felt like I had a win, you know? I'm like, I just saved a few, like 30, 40 bucks on t-shirts. And then the first time I wore it, it fit fine. Threw it through the washer and the dryer, and all 6 of the shirts shrunk up into a crop top. So that's how I knew. I had to not just think about cost all the time, but to also evaluate the value of what I'm getting. I'm a recovering frugal, minimal guy. And so let's just say I'm buying some true classic t-shirts.
Yes.
That's what your boy's wearing right now.
Yes.
I bought a shirt from Lululemon the other week.
Okay, I didn't realize I was with royalty right now.
My wife bought that for me, actually.
Good call.
Fits well, lasts forever. And, that's one of the ways that I've cut something out, but had to adjust a little bit in order to have more value and just to improve the quality of my life, instead of just sacrificing in order to save a penny.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I think that's just becoming an adult too, realizing a lot of really cheap choices are short-term thinking. And there is typically a better choice that will honestly even save you in the long run. Let's keep going down that thread a little bit and talk about this concept called values-based spending. I'm guessing most of the people in this community listening to this podcast will be familiar with that concept, but if you could give us a quick definition on what that is, but then discuss how you use this concept for purchasing decisions, especially for something like your jiu-jitsu classes.
The way I view values-based spending, it's to cut out the expenses in your life for things that don't matter and to spend frivolously on the things that do matter in your life and that do bring value to you. I remember growing up, as a first-generation American, my parents were very frugal, and I think that's because they were just in survival mode. I remember eating like meals that were ramen with rice. That was like a highlight meal.
Nice.
I thought that was bomb in my head, but in the end, I look back and I see, wow, my parents were really just trying to create as cheap of meals as possible at the time. But even though our daily life had a lot of expenses cut out, we would splurge on certain things like family vacations. That was really important to us. And those are the things I remember the most. So in a way, my parents were already living that principle of values-based spending. Except for me, I kind of wanted to tone it down a little bit for my wife and I at this point. So, for example, we don't care about what kind of cars we drive. That doesn't matter to us. So we're happily whipping it around in our Honda Civics and Toyota Corollas. Like we'll do that for years and years to come. But something I am more passionate about and something that aligns with more of my values is physical health and, exploring hobbies, especially at this time. So that's why I picked up a jujitsu class this year. And for me, that would have been a crazy expense because it is $200 a month for this jujitsu class membership or whatever. And I think that is money well spent in my eyes. I sacrificed one thing, which is, a car payment and a luxury, nice, vehicle or whatever. It doesn't matter to me. So it doesn't even feel like a sacrifice, which gives me the margin to put money towards the things that I do care about, like learning how to not get choked out.
Do you feel like you intuitively always knew what your values were, or did this take some finessing over time? Because I could see myself accidentally thinking I value something and then realizing, actually, I really don't. Like, is there any progression that you made, or like I said, did it feel fairly intuitive to you?
Yeah, thankfully, I've always known that I valued high quality experiences with the people I love, and then also my own personal health. Like those are the things that were most meaningful to me. They gave me the most fulfillment. So I will gladly pay for an Airbnb to fly my family out to go enjoy a weekend on a lake in our nice spots, but I will refrain from buying Jordans.
Yeah.
Like I always knew that that's what I valued. And I'm lucky, I'm thankful I had that intuitive feeling anyways. And then I married someone, my wife, that's pretty much aligned with the same exact things. Literally, we can feel it when we're becoming a little more materialistic and when we're just focusing on stuff. Like things start to feel a little bit empty in our life when we're just getting that dopamine hit from an Amazon package or from decorating our new home and just thinking about the things we have. Like at some point, it runs out of steam and we have to go back to the things that we truly value.
Yeah, values-based spending is always super interesting to me because there's this like level of affordability because at some parts of your journey, you just can't afford certain things, even though you may value them. And then as you kind of grow from a wealth standpoint, from an income standpoint, you might unlock some things that you do value, but you couldn't afford in the past. But then at the same time, your values might shift over time. Like you running solo by yourself, traveling, probably care less about maybe safety and reliability, but now having to take care of your wife and your family and other conveniences in your life, like you might have to optimize for reliability and safety in different ways. And you probably value them in different ways than you previously did.
For sure. I think it's important to understand what season of life you're in, and that can help shape where you decide to dedicate your money towards and the values that you have. For example, my wife and I were in that dink phase, dual income, no kids.
Yeah.
We got that flexibility. We don't value a home right now because we're figuring out where we want to settle. So we'll gladly pay rent for a nice spot that we enjoy and have some space in. But eventually we are going to have kids and values will shift and priorities will change. And then we'll probably focus on the school district of where we're at or actually settling within a home.
Yeah.
So it's just embracing each season. Right now, we're in the phase too where I can do an expensive hobby like jujitsu.
Yeah.
And eventually that might switch to daughter's soccer practice. Who knows?
I'm rooting for you, man. Let's shift gears and let's talk frugal hacks. You have your YouTube channel. It's called The Frugal Rich, which is completely full of frugal hacks. What have been one or two hacks that you've shared on your channel that became fan favorites of your audience?
I love the $1 per use rule. That's when you make a purchase, you want to think of that purchase as like, am I going to use this enough where it'll come to a point where I've only spent $1 per use? So for example, if I buy a $400 KitchenAid mixer, I better use that thing for at least 400 times to meet my dollar per use threshold. And so that's been a fun little filter whenever you're making purchases to see if it would be worth it. Like, for example, I remember when I was in college, I bought this cheetah print shirt or whatever. It was like a button up. It looked like I was a member of LMFAO, like wearing this thing.
Yes.
And so that was an example of an item I did not get the dollar per use out of, because once I wear that thing once, it served its purpose. It was this novel thing. People commented, but then again, I'm not going to wear that thing again and become known as the cheetah shirt print guy. Like I would rather buy something minimal, maybe like a $20 shirt from True Classic that I'll know I'm going to wear for at least 20 times. And definitely more at this point that will make that hack true and that filter true.
Yeah, you did a good job, like kind of parlaying that. I love this $1 use example because you could even apply that to the shirt example that you were talking about, where you bought the $6 cheap T-shirt, you wore it once, washed it, and now you can't wear it again because it's a crop top. Versus a little bit more elevated T-shirt that you know you can wear over and over again because it's made from a quality material. And at the end of the day, you're probably got to get that per use rate down under 1 versus the other one was $6 because you had to throw it away.
And usually I don't try to share with people like, hey, just live these 10 different frugal hacks and that's what's going to change your finances forever. I think the best frugal hacks are having to do with creating a system for yourself that allows you to save. So for example, one hack that's not really a hack is just automating a transfer every month from my checking into my high yield savings account. On the day I get paid, I know money gets sent right away, so I don't even see it in my checking, don't even consider spending it. And that's a definite hack that has allowed me to be consistent with my saving each month. And so then I know what's left over is what I can guilt-free just spend on the things that I do value.
You do have some like more hacky type content on your channel for sure. Like I love all the food and the grocery hacks that you share. And I know that's probably targeted at a specific person on that channel, but I do like that you do put a heavy emphasis on sustainable frugal habits as well, because I think that's just as important. For me, in my time of life, and many of our listeners, that's kind of where they're at too, where they don't necessarily need to optimize for saving a couple $100s in the next month, but they want to really optimize for a life that does, live by frugal principles, but it can be thought through from a long-term lens, especially with ties to sustainability and minimalism and right-sizing consumerism, like the kind of frugal hacks that feel right and feel good. They don't feel like deprivation. Is there a habit that you've built that really captures the frugality as a lifestyle versus just frugality for immediate savings?
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful question. I think one of my favorite quotes is from James Clear in Atomic Habits, where he says, we don't rise to the level of our goals, but we fall to the level of our systems. And so there's a lot of systems that my wife and I have put into place that have allowed us to be consistent with saving and continuing to work towards our long-term goals while still enjoying life today. So for example, meal planning. And first of all, when it comes to grocery shopping, you mentioned this already. We grocery
I knew
shop.
You couldn't let that one go.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, we got to talk a little bit about it.
Honestly, the Frugal Rich YouTube channel, the demographic is a lot of like middle-aged moms, you know, just finding ways to save around their home and on groceries and their weekly expenses. And so one thing we do is we never step into a grocery store. We do all of our grocery shopping at home on our Walmart app or whatever app you want to choose. And that allows us to meal plan while we're doing the shopping itself. So like we'll literally inventory what's in our fridge or our pantry. And then we'll only get the items we actually need to do the meals that we plan on making, like the 2 to 3 meals we want to make that week. We'll just get strictly those groceries. So now we're cutting out food waste. We're being very efficient with our time as well, and then efficient with our grocery choices too. So that's one of the systems we have created for ourselves. And it's literally a 5-minute process. We're not implementing these crazy hacks. Heck, my wife and I don't have any Excel spreadsheet for our budget at all. I could do it. I'm more of the nerd in our relationship, but for my wife, I want her to be just as involved as me in being able to manage a system. So we just use an app. We used EveryDollar. We've used Monarch Money as well. I think they're both super simple to use. And that has been our system for budgeting and keeping track of our expenses. We've come to a point now where when it comes to managing money, it takes it's like 10 to 30 minutes a month when it comes to managing our finances together. And so if you can create systems or find a way that, fits into your lifestyle or your family's lifestyle that you can sustain for a long time, that's the best system. I don't tell people to use the app I use or to use my budgeting templates on Excel. It really depends on what you're willing to do. And most importantly, like what you and your partner, especially if you're married, is willing to do as well. Because it doesn't really matter if you're just doing it on your own, if your household's not on board.
Yeah, you brought your partner up a fair amount. When did you guys start merging expenses and finances, and any other systems that you guys have put in place that really make it feel like a partnership whenever it comes to the financial responsibilities?
Well, for us, we got married when I was 23 and she was 25. So broke.
Yeah.
So it was easy to merge our finances. It's like, it wasn't much anyways. And
You got $100, I got $100. All right, we got 200 now.
I heard a funny quote from someone like, yeah, when we got married, we can combine our finances in our cup holder. That's what it looked like. And so for us, we merged probably the week or two after we got married. And I know some people, they like to keep a joint account and two separate, but for us, it was just easier to merge it all into one so that we can see all of our income coming into one place and all of our expenses coming out of the same place as well too. And we both have a credit card on each of our ends, so we can still surprise each other with gifts. But of course, I'm the one that was more into finances, like coming into the relationship. We have two different backgrounds completely. Like, she comes from Latino family and they never talked about money. I came from an Asian family and we talked about money all the time. And so I wanted to make sure I wasn't just dragging her along in like the financial education process. So I wanted to feel like we were learning together. So we took a like financial course together. It wasn't here's everything we need to do, like just listen to me. It was like, let's like get a foundation and build that together. And that has made, honestly, that's the best frugal and saving and finance hack, is like getting on board with your partner.
It's so crazy how it works out. But if you guys are on different pages, you will both drag each other down very fast. Like, it's like tying an anchor to both of you. But if you're both on the same page and working together, it's not 1 + 1 = 2, but it's usually like 1 + 1 = 3. There are many moments where I can support my girlfriend and she can support me. Like, I have a stable income. I run an agency that's mostly built on a retainer, like a monthly retainer system, where she's a freelancer in the music industry. And then there's a lot of ups and downs. Like right now during the fall and in the spring, like she's got some crazy highs. And then in the winter, when music isn't necessarily happening as much, she's got some crazy lows. And it's nice that we can support each other and allow each other to take risk in our businesses, because we bring some stability and some growth on both aspects. And we can kind of put that across the board on a lot of different approaches to finance, which is awesome.
Oh yeah, no, I feel that for sure. Like, I don't know. Isn't there a statistic or something where like a man with a partner ends up earning more, or like with kids that you earn even more than that too?
Yeah. I mean, you're in kind of the same boat too, where you took a step back from your business and wanted to invest in more long form content, wanted to invest in more community building, which I'm guessing dropped your income from where you necessarily were, and it's got to take some time to build back up. Do you see your partner kind of being supportive in that approach, and did she help kind of stabilize the income for the two of you?
Luckily for me, my wife's in the like healthcare industry, so benefits,
yes,
we'll take that.
Let's go. That's nice.
But for us, yeah, like I think when you have a system in place for your money, that's what matters the most, no matter like how much money you earn. Like I first created a budget when I was in college, and I was earning $1,500 a month delivering pizzas for Papa John's.
Yeah.
And that's the same system I've used when I've started my business and started being a full-time creator, for making over 6 figures and more. Same exact system it runs through. And I think income on its own will not lead to your wealth building. For me, I've been into like bodybuilding and working out, and you can't force feed gains. If you try to just eat a bunch of food, that's not going to suddenly turn into like this physique that you want. You have to have a system of working out and exercising so that that input or that income of food is going to actually go and become something. So same thing with money. Like the higher income you make, the more you're eating when it comes to making that bag. You know, it's got to have a system for it to flow through as well, so that it actually, is beneficial for you.
So tying the loop on frugal hacks and frugal habits, there are 2 more things that I want to talk about kind of quickly that I picked up from you. First is a tool that really caught my eye. It's a tool called Camel. How do you use this tool, and like how could someone apply this to purchasing decisions?
Camel is a really useful website, especially when these different sales holidays come up. For example, Amazon Prime Day. I don't know. I feel like I see a sale, a semi-annual sale like every month.
Yes.
I don't know about you. I don't keep track of it, but they come way more often than I really think they exist. So Camel actually lets you see if the purchase you're making is a literal sale. It'll see the price history of an object or an item that you're about to purchase and show you how it's fluctuated over time. And you can find out if that thing you were going to buy on Amazon Prime was actually a sale or if that was just something they boosted the price of the day before the sale happened and then are just selling to you regular price under the label of Prime Day.
Yes. We're coming up on the holidays right now too, between Black Friday and just all the Thanksgiving type sales that happen. And it's a tool that I saved in my browser because I'm kind of interested. I have my system is I wish list most things on Amazon. Like I'll just put it into a wish list. And then at the end of the month, whatever my delta is on income expenses, I'm like, go spend 10% of that. And I'll go to my wish list and see like what's something on there that's been on there that I'm really excited about and I'd want to purchase it. And sometimes I'd go and I'm like, oh, this is on sale and this is on sale too. Like maybe I should just grab both of these right now. But having a tool like Camel to plug that in there and see if it's truly on sale or if it's just a quote sale, I think is pretty cool. One other concept that I understood conceptually but didn't necessarily have a name for it was buy for life. I feel like those are one of those concepts that really capture the difference between short-term and long-term thinking. Can you explain what buy for life is and maybe how you made a purchasing decision knowing this concept?
So buy it for life is the mindset of thinking more along the lines of value when you purchase something as opposed to just thinking about the cost all the time. And so there are some things, especially things we regularly use, let's say a kitchen knife, that you'd probably want to go and buy for life. Like look for something that has high value, that will be durable, that will last you and add value for a long, long time. And like I said, probably even surpass the dollar per use rule. My wife and I, we recently moved into this townhome and it didn't come with a washer and dryer.
Oh, what?
So I'm like, this is the first time of my life where having to go washer and dryer hunting. And dude, there are so many options out there, but this is definitely something we did not want to cheap out on. And it's something we need to buy for life in this case. So we decided to pay the premium and get actually a nice set. And thankfully, there's a lot of great Reddit threads out there that will talk through some of these purchases. People who have questions like you, like what is the best kitchen knife or what are the best pots and pans I should buy for life? There are a lot of people who share real experiences on Reddit. As I've been researching for my YouTube channel, it's been a great resource to get reviews and like real talk from people. I would rather trust John from 10 years ago versus that random blog I see online, you know?
I love it. Yeah, I think that paired with the dollar for use is like this interesting but productive mindset around frugalism and purchasing, like kind of blending the two and recognizing that, especially where you are in your current journey, in your financial independence journey, if you're midway through or nearing financial independence, you can afford to buy something of higher quality and higher price right now, knowing you're going to win in the long run because you're not going to have to buy it multiple times or you're not going to have to fix things multiple times. And I think that's the benefit of like having a little bit of money. Like we don't have to like pay for credit card fees because we can pay our bill off every single month, or like we can like afford to do things that in the long run end up saving us money.
For sure. And there's something I want to clarify too. Higher price doesn't equate to higher value every time. For example, we did buy this Lululemon polo shirt, $95, dude. I think there's a ceiling on the quality for like how much worth it really is. I know at some point there was probably a level maybe above $60 where it just became the name of Lululemon that filled in the rest of that space. And then if I think of other designer clothing or designer bags, definitely it's not the higher price that's equating to the higher quality. And obviously, I don't know, I'm not sure if it's real or not, but on TikTok, they've been exposing how these designer goods are actually made in China and then sent to Europe to get the label slapped on it and then sent to us. So it's important to use your judgment as to, am I actually buying higher quality and higher value, or am I just purchasing a brand name here?
Yeah, good differentiation. Let's shift gears again and let's play a little game. We're going to play this game called Red Flag, Green Flag, which I know you're familiar with. You've done this on your channel multiple times. And what's going to happen is I'm going to give you a scenario. Could be a scenario that begs for a little bit of frugality, but I want you to tell us if you think it's reasonable, green flag, or a little alarming, red flag. And feel free to like after green, red flag, kind of dividing the line, making the point in this where you're like, this is green, this is red. So you ready?
For sure. If you're listening to audio, I'm going to grab the flags right now.
Yes.
I always keep these on me.
I love that. All right. So JC has his green and red flags here. For audio listeners, we'll call it out as well. Waiting a few extra days to see if you're really sick in order to go to the doctor to save a little bit of money.
All right. For my personal self, all right, I always tell people there's no right or wrong answer here. This is your personal preference. I'm going green flag.
Yes.
I was the kind of guy where my parents wouldn't let me like stay home from school unless I was throwing up or like had a fever of 102. That's a lot of time. It's a lot of expenses. If that cough is lingering for 3 weeks, all right, that's the time to get it checked out. But, I know a lot of people who immediately jump to a conclusion that I'm sick, I need this. And they immediately go. And I'm the kind of guy that's like, drink some water, get some good sleep first, and see if that fixes the problem.
Yeah, sometimes 48 to 72 hours is just like all you need. And I've been so frustrated sometimes where I like panic, go to the doctor, and like that is their prescription. They're like, yeah, you're sick. I'm like, what? Why did I do this? I'm trying to be better about injuries, like only giving it 24 hours. And if it's like, because I've like walking on a sprained ankle or a broken bone for way too long. And I'm like, you know what? It's kind of permanently messed up a few things. I broke my wrist and fractured my wrist. And I sat on it for 4 weeks. Like I didn't do anything. I kept it next to my chest like the whole time. And eventually I was like, okay, I need to go to the doctor. And he took an x-ray and was immediately like, yep, you got a hairline fracture. He's like, how long you've had this for? I'm like, yeah, like a month. I'm like, okay, I need to be a little bit better about that.
Yeah, bodily injury, different story. Like, I should know that for jujitsu.
Yes. Next up is negotiating a price of a reasonably priced item on Facebook Marketplace.
Green flag, man. What's the worst that can happen, The only thing they can say is no. And it's like, okay, whenever I negotiate on Facebook Marketplace, I always make sure to add a reason for why I'm asking for this lower price. Typically, this is how it goes. I'm like, can I just purchase this up front for $150 and then I can pick it up as soon as today? So I just give them at least an incentive, let me take this off your hands.
Yes.
Today for that.
As someone that sells a lot of things on Facebook Marketplace, I would say the only way that negotiation typically works for me is urgency. Is like, I can come pick this up immediately. Could you do X, Y, Z? And that will sometimes get it for me, especially if I've had some fatigue with selling something where I've gotten like 20, 30 messages and it's just is this available? And I say, yes, you want to come check it out? And there's like no response. And I'm like, eventually, like they've beaten me up enough where like the next person that comes through, I'm like, all right, I'm interested. Like,
yeah, when they ghost you after sending that pre-made default message,
the worst. Okay, how about DIYing a repair that you're only halfway confident in using YouTube tutorials?
Yeah, that's a red for me. I would have to feel a lot more confident going into it. Because, after watching a tutorial, you can kind of get if you're going to be confident about this. And things with cars,
yep. Sign me out. Yep.
Yeah, I'm calling up a friend, calling the mechanic.
Sometimes I'll do it for fun. My coffee grinder kept spitting out way too many ground beans. And I did some research and there was like a part there that I'm like, oh, that could be it. And I undid everything and cleaned it. But I missed one spring. Like it like popped out and I didn't recognize it. And when I put it all back together, the thing wouldn't lock in place. I'm like, what is going on? And then the next day I found the spring on my kitchen counter and I had to take it all back apart and put it all back together again. It was like a 2 or 3 hour project. I'm like, I'm not sure if that was worth it. But in the sake of sustainability, I really didn't want to purchase a new one if it truly just needed to be clean. So there are like some borderline issues here that I have. But yeah, I'm with you. On car issues, I'm like, I call my friend down the street. He'll diagnose it for me. He'll do it if he can. And then we'll escalate it to a mechanic if needed.
For sure, yeah. And definitely repair over replacing, like working through that filter first.
I got one more for you. Saying no to a friend's out-of-state wedding because of the cost.
Oh, dude, that's a green.
Tell me more.
I've said no multiple times. And the thing is, you're out of state, so it's totally understandable for them as well. And I think it also comes down to my phase of life. Dude, I'm still in my 20s. So for most people in their 20s, they're not really that expected to make any kind of flight anywhere. I think it's just about gracefully declining and then, of course, following up with a nice wedding gift. That's what we've done in the past.
That's fair. This was one area that I've been trying to push myself on more, especially now that I have more money, is trying not to decline outings with friends because of cost. Like if it's a time constraint, if it's truly because I don't think I really want to do that and I'm not going to have fun, like try not to judge myself on that element and just gracefully saying no. But if it was one of those things in the past where it's like, oh, I got to like fly to Philly and get a 2-night hotel and that's going to be like $1,200 right there plus the wedding gift. And like, I'm like, no, Justin, like we got this money. We got to spend this money. Like it's going to mean a lot to this person if I show up. So this is one I'm trying to push myself on a little bit more and truly trying to figure out, is the root cause a cost issue or is the root cause something else?
Yeah. And I think for sure, like, you know who the real ones are that have like specifically went out of their way to invite you to their intimate wedding. Like earlier this year, my wife and I, it was wedding season back in March, right? So we flew out to Austin, Texas to go to a friend's wedding that was more small and intimate. And then you get those other invites where it's like, send me your address if you want an invite. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to go out of my way to ask to be invited to this out-of-state wedding.
Yeah, you were like one of 500 invites that's got to turn into like a 300-person wedding. And it was like a second cousin from 15 years ago that you haven't talked to. Yeah, there's some lines that you can draw on some of this. Yeah. So you went green flag 3 of 4. It's funny because I gave these to my girlfriend beforehand and she's like, oh my gosh, all 4 of these are red flags. So I'm like, I don't know what JC's going to say on these, but I try to like kind of make them at least borderline like a yes, no, either direction. So I love it. Thanks for playing along.
Of course, man. Guess I still got work to do.
As we're wrapping up this conversation, I want to pull on one final thread around mindset. And one worry that I always have on this podcast whenever I'm talking about frugal hacks is that it can feel like that I'm encouraging deprivation. And that's the last thing that I want to do for this community, which is already typically really good at saving. How do you balance frugality with happiness, especially when facing decisions that do require spending?
I grew up in a first-gen like Filipino household. And so my parents came from like an immigrant background. They came here because they were both physical therapists. That was their ticket to the States. And at the time of growing up, I literally thought we didn't have much money. I would never try to spend $20 for a pair of jeans. I just thought like, wow, that was excessive. Turns out my parents were like paying off our houses and like really grinding it out to become financially free and to have financial peace. And I know a lot of people don't agree with him, but they listened to Dave Ramsey like a lot. Like he was their introduction to finances in America. And I think the mindsets and the behaviors and the actions that they put into place from the Ramsey show actually really helped them get that traction. And like I said too, like they still allowed us to go out on family trips and to do fun things and experiences. Like road trips were the prime of my childhood. And I just want to continue to follow that pattern for them to start loosening up even more so that we can still enjoy life even while we're young too. And so my wife and I have been kind of breaking some of those barriers because my wife is also a first-gen American. Her family's from El Salvador. Because we're at the point where we've accelerated our income growth and we have a full emergency fund and we're pretty much on track for becoming like millionaires in our 30s, right? We're going on trips. We're enjoying life. I've been loving it because our parents will see these trips we go on. And then now I'm seeing my parents start booking the trip.
Good. Like
earlier this year, we went to Greece for our anniversary. And now this month, my parents are going on this Mediterranean cruise. And it's like definitely inspired from somewhere, I don't think they would have had that idea on their own. It's important to recognize, book that trip or to make that thing happen while you're young. It's just important to establish that you are consistently saving and investing for your future self at the same time. Dude, I think that's why finding ways to build your skills and to grow your income will just give you a whole lot more freedom to do both of those things at the same time. Like saving only goes so far. That's only one side of the equation, but definitely becoming an asset at your company or building up very monetizable skills is what's going to skyrocket that growth and allow you to just live that abundant life even earlier on.
Amen to that. How do you get comfortable spending as a frugalite? So you, of course, were probably exposed to a lot of frugality in your childhood, although you got to spend on experiences. It doesn't really sound like your parents or family spent too much on material things. A decision like your $6,000 YouTube course, was that an easy one for you to make, or was that one that you needed some support, some push from someone like your wife?
Investing into myself was a brand new concept for me. My first big investment ever was into a financial coach like training course. It was $1,500. I was 20 years old. And it felt wild for me to spend that much money on myself without a guaranteed return. It was like,
Yeah.
I need to make the most out of this. So that was a huge like barrier I had to break. And I didn't grow up around entrepreneurship. My parents are in the medical field. Most Asians are in the medical field. And so that's a very predictable income, very predictable career path. To invest in something that wasn't like college was totally mind blowing. And so once I did that and I realized that when you invest into yourself, you're paying to shorten your learning curve, so you don't have to figure things out on your own all the time. I definitely needed assurance at the time from other people, but now I've gotten to the point where I know how to make the most of an investment into myself. That $6,000 YouTube course, that was a huge jump for me, the biggest investment I've made still up to this point, and was a decision I had to talk over with my wife as well to get some assurance. And because, we're married at the time, so we got to talk it down with the wifey to make sure we can do this. Now I hesitate less. Any investment in myself, I feel like is money well spent, whether it's for my health, my career, or my skills. I think it's definitely one of the best places you can put your money, even better than the S&P 500, honestly.
Yes, let's go.
Yeah.
I think that's the mic drop moment right there. JC, I really appreciate this well-rounded conversation around frugalism. There is two sides of the coin, and I think you did a really good job kind of straddling the line and demonstrating how you could save money and slash things that don't mean much to you, but where people should spend and invest in themselves. So I appreciate that. You do a really good job of this on your YouTube channel. That's the Frugal Rich. And then you also have a Facebook community. I'd love it if you shared how people could access the Facebook community and what they can expect if they join.
Yeah. So because I'm not pitching myself as this expert or guru on this stuff, I care more about community and like getting the audience to talk to each other. And so YouTube only does so much in the comment section. So I decided to kick off a Facebook group because I realized the demographic of my channel, they pretty much all have Facebook. So that's been a place where people have been sharing their financial wins, their goals, asking questions. Heck, the other day we had a guy upload a picture of all of his groceries and told us, $47. How well did I do? And getting feedback on even their grocery trip. So the Frugal Rich community is a free Facebook group. I'm on there. I talk to whoever's on there as well. You'll see me post. You'll see me put up fun questions and polls. And I love it. Honestly, I don't even have to be on there for people to get the conversation going. Like it's going already. So
yeah. It's a lively Facebook group. So if you're looking for a community, I definitely highly encourage you to go hit the show notes and link out to his Facebook community and join that. Once again, this is JC Rodriguez, creator of The Frugal Rich. Go check him out on YouTube. Go join his Facebook community. JC, man, thanks for coming on the podcast. It was a blast.
That was great. Thank you, Justin.
I absolutely loved that conversation with JC. I felt like it was a really well-rounded approach to frugality. On one end, we don't want to deprive ourselves. We don't want to miss out on chances in our life to really enjoy moments and experiences. But on the other hand, frugality is a really good tool to not only accelerate your path to financial independence, but also reduce your FIRE number. And there are like many things in life that truly just aren't worth buying. Most of those things I feel like probably fall in the camp of materialism. And sometimes it takes a little bit of spending to figure out what is actually going to bring you joy versus what is not. Like for me, I've been on a kick of buying Pokemon cards right now. And for somebody, that might sound absurd. I spent $120 on this box of Pokemon packs so that I could go rip them all with my friend. And I'd not take that moment back for the life of me. It was so much fun. We had a blast doing it, and it was well worth $120. But my girlfriend, she would absolutely hate that expense. And on the flip side, she buys a lot of things that I'm like, yeah, that seems kind of silly to me. But if it brings you a lot of joy and happiness, then fair, go for it. Then there's definitely a camp of things that it seems like most people agree are worth spending money on. JC talked about bringing his family on a awesome vacation where he bought the flights and the Airbnb and some of the experiences that they did along that trip. I don't know. For me, I've almost never regretted spending money on travel. and vacationing. And there are a lot of other things that he mentioned, like investing in yourself, in your hobbies, and in your friends. And I think most things in that camp, I'm probably not going to overthink on, and I'm going to spend some money on. JC does do a really good job on his YouTube channel about giving some good frugal hacks, though. Areas where like we all have to spend money on. That could be food or housing, etc. And we want to get the most value out of it. Like we do want to actually figure out how do we get to cook or eat awesome food, but do it in an affordable way. So go check out his channel. It was a great time. I also had a lot of fun doing the red flag, green flag with him. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on those scenarios that I put. So especially if you're on Spotify, open up the comments section and let me know red flag, green flag, which one did you agree with? Which one did you disagree with? And just as a recap, that was saving money by delaying your visit to the doctor, negotiating on a reasonably priced item on Facebook Marketplace, DIYing a repair that you're probably only halfway confident in doing, and saying no to a friend's out-of-state wedding because of the cost. All of those, I think, are kind of borderline scenarios. So once again, I'd love to hear in the Spotify comments or YouTube comments what you think. Or of course, you can always email me, justin@fiminded.com. Send me your thoughts, especially if one of those you thoroughly disagreed with. I want to hear what your thoughts are on that. All right, that's it for today. I got a lot of fun ideas cooking for you guys in the future. I hope you guys have a great holiday. Go enjoy Thanksgiving and Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever you celebrate. Go really live it up, spend some quality time with family, and make some memories. And until next episode, happy Fi.